Everything's energy. Money's energy,
true.
knowledge is energy. Everything's energy.
You are a modern day gladiator. You have won and lost millions. You have overcome all kinds of hardships in life.
There's somewhere along the way, I thought this is only one life. I've never met anyone from the past lives or future lives or time traveled. As far as we're concerned, this is all we have.
You have survived 2 heart attacks and you always came back even stronger.
What if you actually fought your battles? You went to your meetings like your life depended on it, like a gladiator. A lot more people will succeed. Just hug each other. And it's free and so fulfilling. Success is non-negotiable. It can be if your life depended on it.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Many Firsts, the podcast where we explore the power of first-time experiences and share transformative and inspirational moments in our lives. I'm your host, Regula Fischer, and I'm super happy and grateful to be here today, live in the studio with Dariush Soudi. Welcome, Dariush.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here.
I'm so happy we could make it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are a modern day gladiator. You have won and lost millions. You have overcome all kinds of hardships in life. You have survived 2 heart attacks, I think, and you always came back even stronger.
Let's hope there's not going to be 3 and out.
Yeah,
yes.
No, we're not counting to 3 today. We did a bit of that in the intro.
Yeah, it's the high fives, yes. Yeah.
But no, let's not hope that. And so you teach what your learnings basically from all you've gone through in life in your Gladiator Mastery program and at the Gladiator Summit. And you just, you teach shortcuts that you wish you had known years ago for people who would like to increase resilience, wealth, and leave a legacy.
Absolutely.
That's you, right?
Please continue. I love listening to you.
Yeah, it's
yes,
it's you, right?
Yes.
No, the Gladiator, I definitely want to go there because it's your brand identity. And I'm so curious to understand how that came into your life. Where did that emerge?
Certainly. There's somewhere along the way, I thought this is only one life. I've never met anyone from the past lives or future lives or time traveled. As far as we're concerned, this is all we have. And I lost my father. He was 29 years old, maybe 30. I was 3.5, 4 years old. And lost my grandfather when I was 7. So I experienced how short life is and how unpredictable it is and how painful it is when you lose someone. And I thought, you know what, if this is the only life I've been given, I shouldn't tie it to geography or circumstances. I should make the most of it. And I was born in Iran. Wasn't particularly a good childhood. Went to England when I was 11. I was bullied at school. My mum had a tough life, so she took it out on me. And I just couldn't wait to be 18 and just... Really, my first thing was to provide because I was the only man in the house. Yeah. I was told from childhood, it's your job to provide. It's your job. So it was just automatically, I couldn't quit. So since the age of 14, I've been working. And I realized selling my time wasn't going to get me rich and provide for the family. So I got into sales and did quite good at sales, but not particularly, again, not very skilled, not very smart, but I was the hardest worker. I just knew nothing else. I didn't drink in England and all salespeople drank. So whilst they were all in the pub, I was door knocking and that proved well. I met my first wife. She was into personal development and I was like, what is this personal? And she paid for me to go on courses. And she's my best friend today and changed the course of my life. And I realized the power is us within us, and the power of energy, emotions, thoughts, choices can actually dictate where you go in life. And we started a business together, did very well. We grew apart as lovers, as husband and wife. She met someone, we got divorced. She met someone, came to Dubai. I grew the business. I had a side business. It was a marketing company. And I ran out of cash because we were doing too good. It was doing too well. So I got 6 franchisees. They were helping my cash flow with this marketing company. One of them was from Liverpool, just happened to be Liverpool. And he was not a very good guy. And I think he'd borrowed the money to give to me as a franchisee. They asked for it back. And he said Dariush had it. So one night, I was a single dad, just met my current wife. We had a child and she was in Spain. And knock on the door. I opened the door, my children in the house, and 4 men broke into my house at knife point. And they wanted, he was one of them. So I recognized him and wanting their money back. And I said, I don't carry that kind of cash. So that night I put my children on the plane and flew them to Dubai. I stayed in England. And a few months later I had a heart attack because the whole pressure of everything got to me. And literally I was on a hospital bed and I thought, I don't want to die alone. I wasn't scared of dying. It's a really strange thing. I was tears running down my eyes thinking, God, if this is it, I don't want to be alone. So if I survive this, I want to be with my kids. So I made a decision that for whatever reason, September the 1st, 2009, I was going to be in Dubai. I survived, obviously. I told the buyers, I told everyone, the bank came after me, the tax man came after me. The buyers of my business paid me 10%, not the 90%. They said, sue us. And I just burned my boats and I just thought the value of being with my kids is more than anything. I burned up my boats and didn't go bankrupt, paid everybody off, as far as I'm concerned, and came here with $700 in my pocket. I was 44, 3 kids. 2 hadn't gone to school for a few months. So I had to look at them every day. Lived in a maid's room. And I just had no choice but to go forward. So that's how I ended up in Dubai and took on a role as a consultant. Because I think if you've been through pain and you monitor where your mistakes were, you were honest with yourself and look in the mirror and you thought, these were my mistakes. I brought this into my life, right? If I can avoid others going through the same pain and hardship, maybe that's what I've been brought up to do in life. And I noticed everywhere I went around the world on personal development courses, people used to say, thank you for being on this course. Thank you for your energy. I'm like, who are you? Because, I was 10 rows back or I was over there. And I was like, we didn't speak because it doesn't matter. Your energy was really good. And I thought, if this is the gift I've got, everybody has some gift. Maybe I should use it, and I just started sharing and it picked up, took off.
You started sharing energy, basically.
Yes, everything's energy. Money's energy, true. Knowledge is energy, everything's energy. Yeah. So I just started sharing what came naturally and then my experiences. I don't tell, I don't teach, I share. And that went quite well. So I thought, I go to Italy quite often and I can sit in a Colosseum for hours and then imagine what it used to be like. So I thought maybe I'm the gladiator because gladiators were slaves and most of us are born as slaves, financial slaves, not from rich families. Yeah. And along the way, the more people we serve, the more people we do business with, the more people we entertain, the closer we get to being free. And I thought, that's like the gladiators of the old. Yeah. And if I can do that, and why is it people aren't doing that? Why is it that you open up a company and the bank manager tells you 80% of your, companies who start in the first year, they go bust. And 80% of that, 20% goes bust in the second year. I'm like, what if you actually fought your battles? You went to your meetings like your life depended on it, like a gladiator. A lot more people will succeed, because success is non-negotiable. It can be if your life depended on it.
I see. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Taking us on that journey, even to Italy, including Colosseum, is also a place that fascinates me a lot.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah. So you basically started giving from not having, right? That's how I understand it?
Well, I was too busy receiving or trying to pay the rent. And when I started giving, when I started sharing, was one of my students said to me, Dariush, you got a good story, share. I spoke on a stage and people opened up a Facebook page who were in there. They were crying, dancing, laughing, inspired. I'd never spoken before. And they opened up a Facebook page and within a year I had like 500,000 followers. So it went viral. Almost the universe was telling me, you have an interesting thing to share. And I just took it on there and it's just become, to be honest with you, sometimes I wonder why I'm doing it. I'm thinking, am I doing it to is buying love? Is it the love I receive from the marketplace? Is it really helping? Am I rescuing people? Am I truly helping unconditionally? So that question plays within me all of the time, being very honest with you. And And I hope main reason is to give unconditionally, help unconditionally. Because I think every time I've tried to rescue someone or save someone, it's proven a wrong decision. Because I think most people are happy where they are. I should only help people when they come to me for help. No, I see the potential in someone, and I take him out of where they are and take him to where I feel they should be. And they might get a nosebleed, they might get a dizzy heights, and they go, actually, Dariush, I was happy where I was. Why are you bringing me? Resentment comes in. So I've got to control this feeling of trying to rescue people.
Understand. So that's there's these archetypes out there, right? I think the helper is one that we have as a type of a personality type. But then if I put the gladiator next to it, how does that come together?
Let's say we fight in battles every day. Okay, I kind of studied this, and I was found that like majority of people who die have regrets.
Yeah.
Before they go, I wish I'd done this, I should have done this, and I thought, you know what, that's not a life I want to have.
Yeah.
Before I die, I want to go, wow, right? And I don't want to. Being a man, I should protect my family. I should protect my siblings. I should protect my mom. So I've got to have some fight within me. Okay. Now, having said that, 75% of my followers are women. Yes, it's fortunate and unfortunate. I think women they'd have a greater desire to change. They want to do well, because majority of us are born in a white man's world.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the sad thing is, a lot of my followers want to stay female, but the male figures in their lives have been so weak that they are wearing the trousers and the skirt, and that what breaks my heart. And I thought, what, if I can make people fight their battles like their life depended on it, and you couldn't lose. When you go for that interview, when you go for that relationship, you gave it your best shot. And you felt, if I don't, I'll lose. Then we'll all succeed in life a lot more. So it's not like gladiator, sword, kill. It's more like, before you go on an appointment, practice how it's going to go. If they're going to attack you, how are you going to defend? If they're going to, defend, how are you going to attack? How are you going to move with them? What weapons do they have? What's their strategy? What's their needs? What's their headaches you can fix? What do the audience want? How can you serve them, right? If you have those practiced and rehearsed, surely you do better when you go into that appointment, stroke battle. But the problem is that most people now, for the first time in humanity, are comfortable. Over 100 years ago, we had to go and work on the farm or kill animals or pick berries or something, right? Yeah. But now we can sit, watch bag of chips, hot dog, watch TV, and press the remote control, and everybody will deliver your food for you. It's for the first time, humanity doesn't know how to cope with abundance.
It's exactly where I wanted to go. Yeah. So how do we?
Maybe you send me that message.
So we stop talking with voice. That would be an interesting one. A first time podcast silent. Let people get the message as it's energy, right?
Exactly, it is
really
energy.
Interesting. Yeah. Maybe we are silent for a bit.
It's like a silent disco, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's. I need to think about that. Maybe I invite you back for that one.
I'm in.
Or we do it at the end. Yeah,
it'd be a first.
Yeah, another first, exactly. But with regards to comfort or being uncomfortable, how do we do that today when we know, I guess most of us know, actually, I'm not really at risk right now, right? So how do we bring that mindset in of, hey, this is now really, let me do this like life depended on it?
I think if you close your eyes and think, if I was doing exactly, I did this exercise 15 years ago to a group of business owners. And I said, close your eyes. And if you continue what you're doing now in 10 years, because there are moments in life that you never forget. Do you remember when Princess Diana had a crash and she died? Or
I remember that she did, but
you're too young to remember. But there are moments that you never forget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it goes in a blink of an eye. And you look back and think, oh, that was 20 years ago. That was 30 years ago. That was gone so quick. In a blink of an eye, it'd be 10 years or 20 years from now.
Yeah.
So if you're doing what you're doing and nothing changes and 10 years or 20 years goes by, would you be happy? That's the question I ask. And if they say no, I send them in a very dark place. And I think, right, okay, that's where you're going to be. You can avoid that today by making small changes and small maneuvers? And what would that be? If this time 6 months you want to have this, what do you have to do every month, every week, every day, every hour? And then put a plan in place and write a contract, sign it, contract yourself to taking those actions.
It's basically create many firsts, right, in a row. So,
Correct.
yeah,
The thing is, when you create a first, you're stepping outside your comfort zone, right? I had this mind valley. I said, when you're outside your comfort zone, you're discovering something new about yourself, right? Yeah. Why should you be scared of that person?
Yeah, true.
Right? Because at the end of the day, it's you, same values, same everything, just a new adventure.
Yeah, I think sometimes it is what we believe or worry about, that what others might see us as when we step into first times, because we are obviously then beginners, right? And others may see that, and we may not be seen as the person we would like to be.
Who gives a shit about what other people think? Really?
In the end, but that's,
if you ask your family, they tell you what you want to hear because they want to hurt your feelings. If you ask people who don't know you, 80% of them don't give a shit anyway. And 20% of them want to fail, so it makes them feel good about themselves. So really, you're only just, what I say is look in the mirror, be happy with the person who looks back at you, and that's all that matters.
Do you practice that?
Yes. There's never a morning I wake up and I go, I'm a good human being. I want to serve as many people as possible. I want to work as hard as I can. I want to live in gratitude. And if I upset people, let it be, because it's not intentional.
Yeah.
I could walk into a room and 3 people, in the past, it used to bother me. 3, 4 people may not like me, but it's okay, because it's not about me, it's about them. It's about they've had bad experience. They don't know me, right? So why should I dance around and ruin my day because those 3 people who don't know me and I don't know don't like me? And it makes no difference. It makes 0 difference to my life.
Yeah.
Should.
Yeah.
Too often I was love buying. Too often I cared about people's opinions, but really it doesn't matter.
Yeah, if we think about it, it shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you are asking yourself these questions, whether are you doing this, or is that the vision you have for yourself because you want love back, or you like, I mean, who wouldn't, right? To get like getting love back. But it sounded to me a bit like as if you're doubting. Is that a phase? Do you think you are at the moment, or are you constantly?
It's not doubting. It's something missing. Right. So what happens is most people, like I'm blessed with 4 amazing kids, and maybe I've not been a good dad. Maybe they saw too much, the divorce. Maybe they shouldn't have experienced their dad losing everything. They went through hardship. But one thing though, every one of them are complete kids. They're just so happy. Everybody comments that they're really, really amazing. And the only reason is because I gave them so much love, and my spouses, right? And gave our kids so much love. So their cup is full, right? Full of love. So they don't seek it in shitty relationships, hoping he or she fills their cup. They're secure. They're secure at home. They only form friendships and partnerships with people who actually enhance their lives, not because they have holes to fill. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I hope every day I'm working, and we're all work in progress, and I hope every day that I'm doing this to really contribute, not to fill a gap in my life. Otherwise, you become addicted. You become addicted to a third party liking you for you to be happy. But I like to have fulfillment without any reassurance from somebody else.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful because it sounded to me like your childhood was different, right? Your cup was probably not that full.
If you imagine you being blamed for like circumstances and you had no part to play in it, and like I could have had this life, I sacrificed it because of you. You're the reason I'm unhappy. You're this, and you're no good. You're this, and because others were unhappy. Right, so they took it out on me. So, yeah, it's big challenges. Sometimes it resurrects his head, But if you have the ability to reflect, then you have a choice. Should I continue? Because I'm human, I'm not perfect. Should I continue with those feelings, or should I deal with it and change my mindset?
And the feeling of love and the ability to share love. Is that something that you consciously kind of learned or had to learn, or was it there?
I love, I don't know if you feel it, right? I have the biggest heart. I don't know anybody bigger heart than me, really. But along the way, it's been stabbed, kicked. I've lost, lied to, cheated on, everything. But then then I meet these people who got like closed hearts and they got guards.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I think I don't want to be like that. I'd rather have this stupid, even at my age, have this stupid naivety about me, childlike naivety. Because when that day comes, I'm like, you know what? I lived it as I should have been. Right? And yes, so many people kicked it, so many people stamped on it, stamped on it, whatever. It's okay. It hurts at the time, but at least I lived an authentic life, right?
Yeah. And still in those moments, is there something that helps you consciously that you can kind of lean onto or
I think everything,
into?
I think everything I'm sure there are tools, yes, hacks, or I don't know, but with me is sometimes I lose my temper and then I'm ashamed of that because I think that wasn't a good reaction. But I always think, what did I learn from it? Why did that happen? Why did I go down that hole? Why did I have some long winters in my life? So I think if you put your ego aside, the ego is the killer, because the ego is you great, you this, or you're not, they hate you. If you can kill that and be vulnerable without fear, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I find that fascinating how you're describing it, because again, the gladiator is this the image or the metaphor for this strong fighter, right? And then you mentioned also let's say the male and the female that comes together. You have so many female followers, but and at the same time, it's the gladiators' world was a men's world mainly. I think there were
women gladiators. Right? Yes, they were.
I'm still waiting to be. I would love to be in a movie with the gladiators.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Unfortunately, the truth is the female gladiators were a bit of a joke. Yeah, so they had them fight topless. Yes, and not to death. It was just a little bit of fun. Sure. But then they still had to go in the ring and in the arena fight, right? So. Thank God we don't fight to death anymore, right? In 2025. But here's the thing. Which one would you rather have? Slow death or a quick death? I'd rather have a quick death, right? Yeah. But most people are dying slowly. And that breaks my heart. You see, because I see people and I think with that internal dialogue, with that labeling, you're not going to grow. Yes, I saw somebody this morning. They contacted me to train their salespeople. And this hour meeting, the chap in front of me spoke for 55 minutes. They want to hire me to teach their team. And the guy talked for 55 minutes. And I was like, when he left, I turned around to his colleague and said, the problem is him. Because all the way through, he said, I know everything. So how can I work with somebody who knows everything? And they're all like, oh my God, it's so true, right? So although successful, he was the Achilles heel to the business because his ego was blinding him. And I said, I cannot come in and change anything when these people's boss has got all these issues. Yes? Yeah. The only way I can do it if he doesn't come into the room and he allows me to build a trust with his team and myself, then I can implement changes. But probably if I'm doing a 1-hour training course, he'll talk over me for 55 minutes. Won't even allow me to train his staff. And they can't say anything because their boss is in the room. So, sometimes, the ego kills. And why? Probably because that person's insecure.
I guess so, right? It's just so interesting how we have all this comfort in today's world and still have built up all these walls through ego and stuff. That it's just, for me, it's fascinating to see that in today's world, right?
Yes, I think it's been going forever. Here's the difference. Those days, if we had a dislike, I'll kill you, I'll kill your kids, I'll kill your brothers and sisters, and I'll kill anybody who could possibly come and get revenge. Okay? Here, you just go, and you continue seeking revenge, going on social media, bad-mouthing people. But it still was going on, but the actual... what's the word I'm looking for? The actual punishment was more severe.
Yeah, was really about life and
It
death.
was happening.
Yeah, it was.
People were still, there was prostitution, there was PR, there was bribery, there was wars more than today. You know, the world is actually a better place. Just that we see it more easily than ever before. Because before, we could, you know, a war happened and Napoleon lost. 2 days later, Britain knew.
Yeah,
Not instantly.
Yes,
Now,
yeah.
as it's happening, we get to see it. So we just think it's worse, but it's not. The world's been the same.
Yeah, and you mentioned your value of being authentic, and then also what may sometimes come with that is a certain level of you said naivety, I think, right? But it's this childlike playfulness, yes, and I love that, and I see that coming through. That's so beautiful. Now, with regards to your own children, right? How do you do that when you see them grow up? Is there like visions / expectations you have, hopes probably, or how do you help or share?
I think the way I brought up my kids has been different through the years. As I'm growing, I was a young dad at 27. So my son's 31. So that makes me 58. So I've grown. I'm sure I made many mistakes. I think with my first son, and I'm so proud of him, I had a lot of expectations of him. I wanted him to have the life I didn't have. With my last two boys, they've had nothing, but they've only had abundance. They've never seen hardship. So what I do is I talk to them a lot about gratitude and how their siblings, their sister, their brother, saw tough times. So although they haven't experienced it, I want them to know things weren't always like this.
Yeah, and I think just recently you also talked about really playing, right? And the importance of playing. I think you mentioned Lego City that your son has.
When I was on the,
exactly. And I was just thinking when I heard you describe that, so you're describing that.
Do you remember from the time I spoke?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, for me, play is such an important topic.
It is.
And I think especially in adult life, right?
It
and
is.
I always like to talk to people about how can we bring this into
joy
adult
and
life.
Fun, yes.
And also imagination, as you said.
I met Rich. I was last March, maybe May. I was with Richard Branson. I spent a week with him on his island. And he said he doesn't do anything unless it's fun. Like, guy's worth $5-6 billion. He's got rockets in space, radio stations all over the world. His brand is one of the biggest in the world. And he still doesn't, every day, he jumped in the pool with a bottle of champagne, danced on the table, every day, 73, 74 years old. And he's shredded. He worked hard, exercised hard. He'll go and cycle at 5 a.m, an hour, beat all the tourists and all the other colleagues, and he'd come down. He has 2 islands. He goes with a boat to the second island, and he goes on a road up the hill. Nobody can live up to, put it to him. He wins every race. Comes back, and he's going like to his villa, and someone said, "Richard, game of tennis." He goes, "Okay." And then he finished the game of tennis, and he's going back. "Richard, paddle." "Okay." "Richard, chess." "Okay." He said yes to everything. And I thought, wow. He says yes to every opportunity. After all that, it's like 11:30. I'm thinking he must be hungry now. He's heading back. Someone said, "Richard, we have a, what's it called? Ice plunge challenge." "Yes." "And the record is 5 minutes." "Oh, okay, then 6.5 minutes. The guy's he's amazing. He took a notepad with him everywhere and took notes. He would ask, and he was childlike, asking questions, taking notes, where he doesn't have to. He shared tons of stories. I didn't have the pleasure of lots of one-to-ones because there's a group of 30 of us, and obviously 10 people were just like around him. I'm not one of these people who pushes and fights, but I just want to observe from distance. And every word and more, he's amazing. I always thought, is he a good marketeer? In real life, he's a bit obnoxious. No, he's amazing all of the time.
And he plays.
Plays all the time. Just wants to play. Just wants to have fun.
How is that for you? How much play is there in your life?
Off the record? Okay.
I know there's hard
I'm a bit serious. I'm a bit too serious because to do something in life, you have to have motivation, a drive, a goal. Okay. But what I've studied is that 75% of the time, that's not enough for people to take action. Okay. Where people take action when they're running away from pain. So if I know I need a 6-pack in summer on the beach, I'll probably join a gym in January. I binged and I want to.
Of course, everyone joins the gym in January.
In January. But March, April, 75% of people don't go.
Yeah.
And they pay every month.
Yeah.
Why? Because the goal of having a 6-pack on the beach is not enough. But the pain of dying from diabetes, because that's where I am now. I'm borderline diabetes. I'm like, if I don't change, I've been negotiating sugar donuts and chocolate croissants for too long. And I always say, okay, just one. Yes. But that's killing me. So I've had results done. I'm borderline diabetes. So I better lose weight. I better go to the gym every day. Otherwise you're dead. Painful death, right? So I think most people should have, this is where I am. I remember my pain too well. So the reason I work so hard, the reason I think I don't stop, is because I never want to go back. I'm not so goal-driven as I am running away from my pain. And that makes me a little bit too serious, if that makes sense. When like, I go to these events and they do all the dancing and all that, I'm like, oh, I could never do that. Yes. But here's the thing. Most of those people, I sit down within 30 seconds, they're crying. Yes, they put themselves, from my experience, in a state of dancing, but deep down inside, they can't cover rent. And that breaks my heart, right? And I'm thinking, at that moment, you're dancing, but really your life isn't achieving, or it's not fulfilled financially. They might have loads of love, and I hope so. But financially, you have stresses that you're avoiding. At that moment, you're dancing, and it's manifestation and tantric, but really, your life's falling apart. To me, I can be a bit too realistic. And I see through the dance. Does that make sense? I can honestly dance when I'm high. Yes, when I'm in an altered state, plant medicine, and I'm free, and I realize all this is bullshit. All this is bullshit. Yes, there's different types of frequency, this type. But unfortunately, if you don't pay rent, you have to sleep on the streets. If you don't pay school fees, society has created something where you have to go out there and do business to survive, to live, right?
And you say all this is shit.
It's bullshit.
You mean?
Everything, really.
Everything.
Yeah, because you know what? It's all about love. If you break down the guy who's driving a Lamborghini, smoking a cigar, and has a dozen girls around him, if you break it down, he only wants love.
Yeah.
The girl who flashes the body and on Instagram, all she wants is love. Yes. The guy who has an ego and wants to build a business, he's only trying to seek love. Yes. So it's all about love. If I had to do it again, I'll just say, we should all hug each other. Just hug each other. And it's free and so fulfilling. No interest in anything else. Just give love.
Can we do that intro again at the door?
We hug each other. We hug each other on the way. And now you get to know me. Right? Otherwise, people will say, why is you hugging her like that at the beginning? But does that resonate, what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yes.
no, very much so.
We do what we do. And I'm at the station, I'm thinking, I should stop all these posts and stuff. But I'm thinking, well, it's taking me 8 years of podcast to get 1 million subscribers. I've got 3-point-something million Instagram. If I stop, what's going to happen to them? So suddenly I'm addicted. And that's not a good driving force. I don't look at interview. I love being interviewed, especially with somebody authentic like you, not just going through questions, yes? And that connection I love, but I don't particularly like interviewing people anymore. Because there's cameras on. I'd rather go for a coffee or tea and I have a chat and I learn. And I have that childlike enthusiasm. But doing it for the camera is like stage now. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The reason I spoke on Mind Valley, because somebody challenged me to set that Gladiator was not for the Mind Valley crowd, because they're very spiritual and I want to prove them wrong. and I was voted the best speaker on the day.
Wow.
So I had hundreds of messages saying that. I'm not taking away from any other speaker, but people thought that people won't resonate with my message. And people like yourself did. You remember some of those messages.
Yeah. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I didn't even think anybody would remember the Lego.
There's
the
a very
Lego
much,
message.
very
Yeah.
much no play is it's so true. As I said before, right? I'm so much after that. I mean, we need play somehow, in whatever form in life, and just children also, as you described it. I observe and watch children a lot.
Yes.
There's so much that we can just
They're
integrate from
always in
observing
the
them.
moment. They're always
exactly,
in the moment.
Exactly.
They're not. And then we keep saying to them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Why are we asking them those stupid questions?
Yeah.
They're in the moment. Somewhere along the way, we're saying Lego pieces, his shark is in a prison, right? It makes sense to him. His shark is in a prison. And it makes sense to my son, and he can spend hours. And then we go, no, sharks have to be in water and they can't be in prison. And then we put some order into place and for him to make sense, but it made sense to him in the first place.
Yeah, and that's something I observe as well, how
Yes.
adults speak with children, and tell them exactly as you're describing how the world is, as opposed to
Yes.
how they may have just done it. And also how children often get shushed, right? When often in public spaces, it's like,
Yes.
don't.
Yes.
And it always kind of
Breaks
it
your
hurts.
heart. Yeah, it hurts. Most people don't have a clue the way they behave and their acting will affect the children's lives.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see 10 years, 20 years, because most people never think they're going to die. Most people think their lives forever. Sad, isn't it? I call it the walking zombies. Yes, because they are conditioned, not in Dubai so much, but be conditioned to pay our taxes and die. Go to school, get your education, stick to the system, pay your taxes, and die. That's it. You're just a number. I went to funerals in the UK and I've been to weddings in a few. Right? Literally, you're a name on the list. Right? You got half an hour, coffin goes on, you do your thing. Before the coffin goes to be burnt or buried, there's another coffin outside waiting to come in. Yes? And then you go to the restaurant, you got an hour, or your wedding, the priest is on the clock. Yes, does your vow, you go next, and then other couple are waiting to come in. You're just a number. You're a national insurance number. And we stop being individuals. And wouldn't it be good to make a mark in this world? Just make your little mark and not be an individual. Not to be an individual, not to be a number.
Not to be a number. Yeah, definitely. It's beautiful what you're saying.
Yeah. You didn't think we'd go this way, did you?
Yeah, no. I did expect it to be
Did you?
deep
Oh,
and powerful. Yeah. And vulnerable.
Well, all up. Thank you to you. You brought it out, so thank you.
Yeah, well, I wanted to briefly touch upon the book and the process. I think it took you a number of years
7
to
years.
write your book, which is called The 12 Principles, right?
Of the modern day gladiator. I'm so sorry I didn't bring a book for you, but
That's
I will have it
okay.
delivered tomorrow. I'll have it. And you can go to Kinokuniya and it's there.
Yeah, right.
It's in Dubai Mall. Please go and get it.
Yes, that's what everyone
And share
knows.
it when you do it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm not sure about this social media. Anyway, I'm not sure about the social media stuff. But
Are you serious? You're not sure?
Well,
And you're having a podcast?
yes, no, I know what you mean, but I cannot spend hours in there. It makes me feel kind of
In the
drained
mall or on social media?
both, I think. I mean, I definitely need to keep a balance.
The challenge
and I need
is-
help, I need people who spend time for me, also help me so that it's not me spending half of my life or more.
Yeah, I think it's being selective and prioritizing because the distractions are there on social media. Most people are distracted.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm having a conversation with my 10-year-old and he's so wise. Where'd you get that? It goes from TikTok or something. There's bits that they pick up that they don't get from school, but they get from these videos. So it's good
I
and
agree.
bad.
And exactly. As
Do you have
everywhere,
children?
right? No. But it's exactly as you're saying, the knowledge sharing and also just the reach, right? I mean, a few years ago, it was just not possible to reach or to find people that resonate with you or that you learn from. Yeah, totally agree on that.
You had to believe what
It's
you were
more-
told.
Yeah.
You couldn't do your own research.
Yeah.
Now, before somebody meets me, they've done the research, right? And when they say, I want to do business, even after when I have buyer's remorse, and did I make the right decision? They do the research. So everything's research. You can sit on the toilet and research someone.
Yeah, that's, I think,
Literally
many
on
of
the
us.
bus. Yeah, are you with me? Depends how long you're on the toilet, right? So,
I love toilet stories.
yeah.
No, see, I mean,
We move on. We move on. So, but before internet, I used to cycle to the library. There was only one book on China, for instance. And I used to sit there looking at the guy reading it. And I'm like, God. And maybe he won't put the book down for 6 hours. I have to cycle all the way back and hope next day I'll get that book. Crazy, right? But now I can go and say, what's happening to Alibaba shares right now? And they've tanked. I've lost $20,000, but I can find out why. Our current US president is just put tariffs all over the world and everything's tanked.
Yeah, but how did we end up there from the book? From me going to get your book in the mall, we ended up
economy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's economy. It's the energy of money.
It's energy anyway.
Somehow it does something in the system and it goes into tariffs. The reason it took me 7 years, because I wasn't sure if I should do an autobiography or, the closest book to mine would be The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. But that was fiction, but it was almost his life. So with mine, if I was an autobiography, lots of people who were involved in my life are still alive.
Yeah.
And it was like, if I share too much, it could be embarrassing for them. And I don't want them to die and have my book there. So it took me a while to write it. And I didn't want to sound like a victim.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to sound too aggressive. And also, I tend to be quite humorous, believe it or not. But I want to have the little bit of humor in the book as well. So being dyslexic, I gave it to lots of ghostwriters, and they were coming back like a victim. Why did this happen to me? And the other one that was too obnoxious. I didn't care what happened to me. I was going to be a gladiator and do this. So it took me a while to get to the balance of. So when you read it, a lot of people say, I see you saying that.
Yeah.
So it took that long.
Yes. I mean, some things do take long, and I think that's also what you talk about, right? To get somewhere, we need to invest the time and the work. There's no
be
way
patient.
around it.
You have to keep asking you have to ask the right questions. Like instead of saying, "Why has it happened to me?" You can ask, "Why not?" Yes, and what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
Right? Why is it happened to me? You're a victim, so everything around you happens to you, and you're just a sailing boat. Wherever the wind blows, you go. I'd rather be a powerboat.
Yes, then I mean, kind of
make it happen. Go in your direction. See an obstacle coming, change, move, learn, move on. Don't be a Titanic and hit the iceberg, right?
Have you done any kind of self-defense or any kind of all-time gladiator
When
stuff?
I was a kid, because I was being bullied, I did karate.
Yeah.
But I don't remember nothing. And I used to be quite violent. When I was in England, I ended up in jail a few times for beating people up. So I was very angry inside and I didn't know why. But there was a point whereby, and they put me in jail for like 24 hours to calm down. So I was sitting there with my knuckles bleeding, my suit on. I was like, a CEO of a company shouldn't be like this, right? My poor first two kids were like, Daddy, don't take us to school. Any road rage, I'll be out there. It was just the angry childhood anger. Now, it got to a stage and I thought the consequences of my actions are far too great. So I better change the way I behave. So seeing me now, you don't think I could lose my temper. But I'm blue, boom, red. And that often comes from, there was do you mind to share an incident? I'm not proud of it, but I'll share an incident with you. I don't think I've ever shared on a podcast before. It was about 7-8 years ago where I was in a meeting and my son comes who works with me and he was white. And I said, are you okay? He goes, no. This guy, we've taken his website down. He's coming. He's angry. And we have a website company. He hadn't paid us for 6 months. And I said to him, take the site down. He'll pay us. And instead of saying, I'll pay you, he said, I'll come and beat you up. And he was a boxer. So I said, don't worry, I'll take care of it. I know the guy. I'll take care of him. So I terminated the meeting. As I was packing my bag, he must have got there quicker because I saw him pushing my son outside my office. So I just took my case, came outside, and I said to him, stop. And he started effing and blinding at me. And he said, I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to go into your company. I'm going to shout and scream until you put my website. I said, you're not going to touch my son or do anything like this. And he went towards the door. I just turned around and bum, 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 and knocked him out. I can't even remember. And I literally took my case. It's in Dubai. I took my case and went to an appointment in Marina. And I was sitting there, and suddenly the whole what had happened comes in. I started getting the shakes. And I look at my knuckles are bleeding, and I'm like, and then he called the police on me. Mm-hmm. And the police came, and my PA was amazing. He said, well, this guy's a 50-year-old guy. He's 20-odd-year-old boxer. He's come to our office. He owes us money. And the police arrested him.
Oh, really? Yeah. Before they got to you.
So it makes sense.
She just diverted them.
You came to him. You got abusive messages. You haven't paid them. Yes. Yeah. And if you do it again, you'll end up in jail. So you never heard from the guy again. But then I was ashamed because I overreacted. Maybe there's better ways to deal with things than that. But when it comes to protecting your family, it's just...
Yeah, there's still some raw human instincts, whatever, defense instincts that we probably have. For
but I do think I'm a guy because I don't, when that red comes, I don't care about consequences. It's not a good thing.
That's real survival mode, I would assume.
Possibly, yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And do you know, I mean, do these things, obviously it came up now, but can you let go of them, or do they like follow
the anger
you forever?
bears?
Yeah, or just that you felt like maybe you could have reacted better?
I look at my son, and there are times that my 30-year-old son, and there are times that the way he behaves, I'm like, God, I wish I had some of that in me. You know, he just like, let it ride. I'm like, wow. But maybe by name Gladiator, you don't let it ride. You know, you got to. And I had a client of mine gave me a project which is really unattainable, to organize an event in 5 weeks, which is and we did it. It was the most amazing event, cost $3 million. It was the best in the world, held in Dubai. And we had the most amazing speakers come, everything. It was incredible. And we did it with a group of people, 250 people. And they called me a ninja at the end because I went into groups that were just waffling. I took over. I took care of everything, every minor detail. And it was amazing. They gave me a CEO's role. They said, would you like to run our company? I said, no, because it was far too painful. The battles in that 5 weeks, I had no quality of life. So I choose dancing rather than fighting now.
And I just wanted to ask you, do you ever get tired of fighting / the gladiator?
All the time.
Well, you do.
Yeah, you have to dig deep all of the time. But then I can't be a gladiator and be soft. I can be spiritual. Gladiators meditated. They were spiritual beings. If you look at the movies, they all have these little figurines they pray to. They're spiritual beings. Yeah. But yet, they had to be fearless to win in life, right? Because I close 99.9% of the appointments I sit because I'm competing against weak gladiators. Another salesperson goes, okay, think about it. I'll send you the information. I'll send you the proposal. And they never get the deal. Dariush goes and gets the deal, and the guy calls back and says, did you think about it? Yeah, this guy came and signed and went and got my money. Yeah. So I'm constantly battling every day, and I'm winning every day.
And you get tired?
All the time. You play hard, you rest hard, right? So I travel. I'm blessed that on Wednesday I'm going to London on a course and then going to Las Vegas on another course. So it brings you a certain amount of wealth and comfort where you can take a rest. Okay,
yeah. At the same time, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. And otherwise, you in your daily life, how do you rest? Is it with
my kids,
and play?
Do you know, I would do anything to be able to hug my dad. Yeah, anything. And I want there will be a time where I'm gone, right? So I want the kids to know I was there. I'm getting emotional. Yeah.
The hug will follow now.
Yeah. I want them to know that. I want them to remember.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
They know. I have love messages every day from them. Not because they feel obliged to, because they really love.
Yeah, they get the inspiration. Yeah. Love, as we have come full circle to love, you want the Kleenex.
Are we done? No. I was going to get... thank you. No, I'm good. It's not going to drop. It's not going to drop. It's going to hold. It's funny. The only time I cry is when I speak about my kids.
Yeah, I see the emotion. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's not pain. I have a box of tissues in my office, and no matter how big or small the person is, they always cry. Because when you speak the truth, it hits you here. It's not your heart or your head. It's your gut. It's that feeling of resonate. Of God, that was the truth. And it hits you hard, and you can't control it. You can't control it.
Yeah. And then we need more of that. Thank you so much for
you're welcome.
Sharing all that.
You're welcome. You're
with us
welcome.
today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And yeah.
I hope that we don't have any viewers. We just have listeners.
No, we should see the full beauty. But yeah, it's up to everyone whether they want to listen or watch.
Sure.
To maybe end on a little bit of a playful note. Is there a first time you would like to create in the near future?
I would like to try plant medicine. I like to go on a journey. I haven't tried ayahuasca. I don't like purging, but maybe that's where I should go. And then you see things from different dimensions that in our 3-dimensional world don't exist. I had DMT a year ago, and my intentions was, what happens after death?
Yeah.
Right? And I went on this journey and I witnessed my own death, which was beautiful. It was incredible. I know my age. I know who was around me. And I don't have a fear of death anymore.
Wow.
And it's a plant. It's called a God medicine. And whatever your intention is, the answers will come. Really, you can't get that here unless through deep meditation.
Yeah.
Deep meditation. So I like to try that.
And
unfortunately, living in Dubai, I can't go and say I want to track around Amazon because there'll be mosquitoes and mud and rain. I like my 5-star toilets and showers. So, every box is ticked.
It would be being a bit of discomfort maybe for a bit.
No, it's okay. I've had plenty of that in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
I've worked all my life to fly first class. I've worked all my life to have 5-star hotels. Yeah, no, I'm happy with that.
And who knows, then you said that you would probably dance, right, when you're on plant medicine. So we will.
The thing is, when I'm in a state, I go very deep and I become very funny. I don't know why. And then my story could last an hour, but there's always a beginning and the end. So the whole thing's a hook. So, if you're listening to me, you'll be like, where is he going with this? But somewhere along the way, it comes back to the beginning. So you go, it makes sense. So what I find is that when I'm, out of this world, I'm going to get arrested after this, that it all makes sense. Everything makes sense. And people find it really funny.
Oh, that's so reassuring. It's the trust, right? I mean.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Your environment and who you're with.
It's all like, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You feel safe. And so I would like to experiment a little bit more. And here, the thing with Dubai is that if you can't express yourself emotionally, whenever you leave, you go to an extreme. Okay. So I think balance is really important. Like if you're in a communist world and you can't communicate, you go to an extreme when you come to the capitalist world. Yeah. So life is about balance, I think.
Yeah.
I think. And more Dubai. I remember I was sitting with my second wife and I had my hand on a chair. And a restaurant manager came and I thought he was going to say, how's the food? And he said, do you mind removing your arm? Because a couple of ladies that don't like it. Oh, and I said, that was about 50. I said, no, they can move. Right? If they don't like it, they don't have to look. About 5 years ago, my daughter's 29. I was stroking her back, kissing her shoulder. And this gentleman comes over and says, hello, my friend. And I said, talking, where are you from? England, chatting. And I said, you're not allowed to touch that lady in public. I said, it's my daughter. Well, if it's your daughter, it's okay. I said, it's not up to you. Don't look. right? So we had a confrontation. And then suddenly you realize that you're not in your own country. You're not in England. Well, my country is Iran, but you can't do any of that. But in England, I'm westernized. So you realize that there's still some restrictions, but you have to be within the rules of their neighborhood. But balance is key. Like I used to dread Ramadan. But now you don't even notice it's Ramadan because everybody has an equal right whether to eat or not to eat.
Yeah.
Before, I don't know, how long have you been in Dubai?
Now, this time.
Yeah.
I arrived yesterday.
You're new to Dubai.
Yeah, no, I don't live here.
Oh, you don't live
No.
here? Where? Holland?
No, Switzerland.
Switzerland? I think your accent maybe Dutch. Sorry, I should have done my homework. I'm sorry.
I guess this
I've
is
just
a
got back from
compliment.
Zermatt. I've just got back from Zermatt. Yes.
Did you like it?
Loved it. But I couldn't ski and be with my kids because of this event that I was doing. It ruined my 2 weeks of time with my family because I was
Constantly working
trying
on
to
that.
deliver on my promise. And it wasn't a pleasant work. It was constantly fighting with the teams in the company. And instead of trying to enhance the experience, they were trying to find out, sabotage it. So they made themselves look good. Instead of saying, no, I trust it. Have you experienced this before? Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of just, come on, guys, what matters is the result for the company, not to save your own ass and pass the blame. So I went to the owner and said, the way they're all positioning themselves is to try to say, the reason it didn't work because of this person. They're not thinking about, it's got to work. Yes. So in a way, I kind of had them all fired temporarily.
Politics in that sense. Yeah.
That's why that don't work for anybody else. I made the event happen. But at the end, I got out of all the groups. I got all everything. I've stopped all communication. I delivered, and I don't want to be their CEO. And they want to see me face to face. No, I'm okay. I'll see you as a courtesy. They want me to stay, but I say, no, it's okay. Quality of life, peace of mind is more important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Is there anything else? That's already a very powerful message, but is there anything, any message, anything you would like to share?
Yeah, just really work on your self-worth. Everything is about self-worth. The universe gives you the love that you deserve. The universe gives you the money that you deserve, what you really believe you deserve. Yes? Not you're entitled to. A lot of people have this entitlement mentality. Right? We're not entitled to shit, right? We're not entitled to anything, right? But we have to earn it. We have to earn it, in my opinion. You have to work for it. You have to graft. Luck is labor under calculated knowledge. You create your luck by working hard, learning from your mistakes, and being knowledgeable, right? So the difference between a dog and me is that the dog gets up, eats, shits, dies, right? A tree grows up to its potential. If it doesn't, it dies, right? The difference is I wake up in the morning, I have a choice.
Yeah.
The brain makes a choice. That's freedom. It can be. But if your choices is, shit, I have to go to work, a job I hate, that's not freedom.
No, it's not.
You're a prison. You're a prisoner. But if you have many choices, and often money creates many choices, that's freedom.
But then sometimes I think people also struggle when they have a lot of choices, right? Because then how do you choose? Which of the good choices
is that from personal experience?
No clue. I'm asking for a friend.
So yeah, well, I don't know what you're talking about. The thing is, if the choices are total freedom, right? It's not like, oh, should I make the call to him now or an hour? Otherwise, my boss will shout at me. These are good choices, right? It could be right. Do I want to go to the gym today, or should I leave it this afternoon, or do I not want to go, or should I go on this holiday? Should I go on this? Should I go private or first class? These are good choices.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it depends on type of choices you have to make. But if you're paralyzed because you can't make a decision, that's not good. Procrastination is a really bad thing.
Yeah.
The biggest aphrodisiac is action.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think we should write it down, patent it, trademark it,
really
and charge
good.
people if they use this one.
That's really good. Yeah, so we're ending on the topic of love.
High. Yes.
Yes, and high.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Dariush, so
Thank
much.
you.
It's a real gift. So thanks, everyone. If you liked today's episode, it would mean the world to us if you like it. Share it with anyone who could need a boost in courage. And please also share your reflections with us What are your next steps in building more resilience and more love in your life? Share them with us in the comments, and let's keep creating very powerful and intentional firsts together. We will see you next first time. Until then, much love and courage. Ciao.